If you learned the Trojan War was fought over honor, love, or a kidnapped woman, you learned a history designed to hide the geopolitical reality. Helen functioned as the sole source of legal authority for the Peloponnesian throne. She represented absolute state legitimacy. King Menelaus possessed his crown entirely through his marriage to her. Helen was a walking monopoly on regional authority. Paris arrived in Sparta as a diplomatic envoy from Troy, a trade empire whose massive wealth masked its declining geopolitical influence. This makes Helen the ancient world's most critical strategic weapon. Whoever controlled her controlled the entire Greek peninsula. In our historical timeline, Helen chooses passion over politics, boarding a ship with Paris. Menelaus is stripped of his legal authority the moment his link to the throne sails away. His brother, Agamemnon, seizes on this loss of legitimacy to manufacture a pretext for war, launching a 10-year siege of economic attrition against Troy. The Greeks spend a decade exhausting their resources. When they finally break through, the victory leaves Mycenaean Greece completely drained of its manpower and wealth. This single emotional indulgence acted as the primary domino, triggering the Bronze Age collapse and plunging human civilization into centuries of darkness. Let's rewind the narrative to the night of the escape and freeze the timeline at the moment of decision. Helen accurately assesses Paris as a weak political pawn sent by his father. Refusing to flee, she detains the Trojan prince and turns him over to Menelaus before dawn. She frames Paris for violating Xenia, the sacred law of ancient hospitality. By weaponizing this legal accusation, Helen hands Sparta absolute moral and diplomatic justification to dominate the region without a war. Without a massive military deployment, Greece transitions directly into rapid diplomatic extortion. Troy is spared destruction, but converted into a taxed vassal state, acting as a toll booth for all trade moving toward the Black Sea. Helen leverages this influx of wealth to centralize authority and elevate herself to a living god. Bypassing the Bronze Age collapse allows Mycenaean engineers to continue their scientific research. They perfect the complex mechanics found in the Antiquity mechanism centuries earlier than in our timeline. This unbroken intellectual continuum results in the discovery of advanced metallurgy and chemical weaponry 1,500 years ahead of schedule. Project this timeline forward to a modern reality dominated by an unbroken global Sun King dynasty. Global megacities built of white marble and reinforced bronze speak Attic dialects and worship under a unified Hellenistic state cult. Because the Library of Alexandria never burned, humanity possesses a 1,000-year head start on mathematics and mechanical theory, using Aetheria engines to colonize neighboring planets. The Dark Ages never happen, resulting in a world that is more advanced and brutally efficient. Helen's historical failure lies in her total underestimation of her own value as a strategic resource. She chose to be a prince's romantic trophy rather than the calculating architect of a world empire. In the world of high power, personal charisma and beauty are deployed as tools of state compulsion, never squandered on personal happiness. Helen of Troy proves that a single moment of emotional indulgence by a key asset can permanently erase 1,000 years of human progress.